The courtroom was silent, the kind of silence that makes your heartbeat sound louder than everything else. I could feel dozens of eyes watching me. The judge sat high above us, calm and unreadable. Lawyers shuffled papers. Whispers floated through the wooden benches. And then there was my father, standing confidently at the prosecutor's table. For most people in that courtroom, he was Mr. Daniel Carter, one of the most respected prosecutors in the city, a man known for his sharp mind and flawless record. But to me, he was just Dad, or at least he used to be. I sat quietly in the back row, my hands trembling slightly as I watched the trial unfold. The woman sitting at the defense table looked fragile, almost broken. Her name was Lena. Her shoulders were tense, her eyes tired from sleepless nights. The whole courtroom already seemed convinced she was guilty. My father spoke with his usual confidence. "Your Honor," he said calmly, "the evidence clearly shows that the defendant committed fraud and attempted to manipulate company records." The words echoed through the room. Lena lowered her head. Something inside my chest tightened, because what no one in that courtroom knew was that I had seen the truth, and the truth was something my father never expected. I had spent weeks trying to convince myself I was wrong. Maybe I misunderstood. Maybe I didn't see everything clearly. But every piece of evidence I reviewed led to the same terrifying conclusion. Lena wasn't the villain of this story. She was the victim. And the real betrayal came from someone much closer, someone the court trusted, someone I had trusted my whole life, my father. I stared at the courtroom floor, my thoughts racing. Part of me wanted to stay quiet, to walk away, to pretend none of this was happening, but another part of me, the stronger part, refused to stay silent, because Lena didn't deserve this. She didn't deserve to have her life destroyed just to protect someone else's reputation. The judge looked toward the defense table. "Does the defendant have legal representation?" Lena's voice barely came out. "No, Your Honor." My father exhaled slowly, almost impatiently. And in that moment, something inside me finally snapped. Before I even realized what I was doing, I stood up. Every chair creaked as people turned toward me. My voice shook slightly, but the words came out clear. "Your Honor." The entire courtroom turned silent again. I took a deep breath. "I'll defend her." And when my father looked at me, the expression on his face was something I had never seen before. Pure shock. Because the last person he expected to stand against him was his own daughter. The courtroom exploded with whispers. I could feel my father's eyes burning into me. "Emily," he said quietly but sharply, "sit down." But I didn't move. The judge adjusted his glasses and studied me carefully. "You wish to represent the defendant?" he asked. "Yes, Your Honor." My heart pounded in my chest, but I forced myself to stay calm, because the truth was finally about to come out. My father laughed softly, but it wasn't a kind laugh. "You're still a junior attorney," he said. "This isn't a classroom debate." But he wasn't denying what I knew. That was the moment I realized something that shattered me completely. He wasn't shocked because I was wrong. He was shocked because I was right. Weeks earlier, I had been reviewing financial reports at the firm where Lena worked. At first, it looked simple. A small accounting error, some missing funds. But when I followed the trail, the numbers started pointing somewhere unexpected. The documents had been altered, and the digital authorization signature belonged to my father. At first, I refused to believe it. My father had spent his entire career talking about justice, honesty, integrity. He always told me the law was sacred. So I kept digging, hoping I would prove myself wrong. But the deeper I went, the clearer the truth became. Someone had used Lena as a scapegoat, and the person responsible had the power to control the investigation. The prosecutor himself, my father. Standing there in that courtroom, I felt something break inside me. The man who taught me right from wrong was now standing on the wrong side of justice. But I also felt something else rising inside me. Strength. because if he thought I would stay silent just to protect him, he didn't know me at all. I stepped forward slowly. Your Honor, I said, I would like permission to present new evidence. My father's expression hardened instantly. Objection, he said quickly. This is completely unprofessional. But the judge raised his hand. Let her speak. For the first time that day, my father looked nervous, and that told me everything. I placed the folder of documents on the table. These financial records were altered, I explained, and the digital authorization attached to them does not belong to Lena. The courtroom became completely silent again. I opened the final document. It belongs to the prosecutor. Gasps spread across the room. My father's face went pale, and in that moment, the entire case began to collapse. The courtroom erupted in chaos. Lawyers whispered. Reporters scrambled for their phones. The judge slammed his gavel. Order in the court. My father stood frozen beside the prosecution table. For the first time in my life, he looked small. The judge turned toward him slowly. Mr. Carter, he said carefully, do you wish to respond to these allegations? My father opened his mouth, but no words came out, because the evidence was undeniable. The financial logs, the authorization signatures, the altered documents, everything pointed directly to him. Weeks earlier, he had secretly redirected company funds through a shell account. When the irregularities appeared, he needed someone to blame. Lena had been the easiest target, a quiet employee with no powerful connections, someone the system would never protect. Until now. The judge ordered an immediate investigation. Lena was cleared of all charges that same afternoon, and my father was escorted out of the courtroom by investigators. As he passed me, he paused. For a moment, I thought he might say something. An apology, an explanation, but he didn't. He simply looked at me with a mixture of anger and something else. Regret. Weeks later, the case made national news. A respected prosecutor exposed for corruption by his own daughter. Some people called me brave. Others called me heartless. But the truth was much simpler. Justice isn't about protecting the people we love. It's about protecting the truth. Lena eventually rebuilt her life. She found a new job, far away from the scandal. Before she left the city, she came to see me. Her eyes filled with tears as she hugged me. You saved my life, she whispered. But I shook my head. No, I said softly. I just told the truth. Sometimes revenge isn't loud or dramatic. Sometimes it's simply exposing what was hidden. And that day, standing in that courtroom, I realized something that changed me forever. The law doesn't belong to powerful people. It belongs to the truth, even if that truth breaks your own heart.